Everybody, we have Mr. Derek Clark from Cocoon Strategy who is going to be presenting. Derek, take it away.
Absolutely. This is a great opportunity with Loudoun County Public Schools Experiential Learning Program, and I bring to you Cocoon Strategy. Cocoon Strategy is a consulting, coaching, and mentoring company, but the biggest aspect of that is the mentoring, and we've got together with some young adults, and one of them's on the call with us, Jeremiah Melton, and we formed a company that we're calling AgriCare. AgriCare is the name of our company. And if you can go to the next slide, Sean, is, is the name of our company. And so what happens with AgriCare is this. We are experimenting with cloud computing, machine learning, Internet of Things, and all things that are relating to regenerative agriculture. So what we are doing is we're taking, for example, AWS Web Services, and what we'll be doing is taking building servers, doing databases, running machine learning algorithms, and then taking data from soil samples here in Loudoun County and determining the best way to do regenerative agriculture. And we said, wow, wouldn't it be great to take all of that the power of the information technology, and couple it with agriculture, regenerative agriculture. Here in Loudoun County, a lot of folks are not too familiar with farming, but without farming, there is no us. Without farming, we have no good food. We don't have healthy food, and so regenerative agriculture is a big deal for us as we move forward in years to come. So we said, why don't we see how we can merge them? So you go to the next slide, and I met Jeremiah through one of my fraternity brothers, and it turns out talented, gifted Jeremiah Melton is with us, who's also passionate about learning, designing, and all types of things. So we said, oh, wow, this is an opportunity. How do we do this? How can we do this? And so we said, well, let's form this company. So through learning, educating, training, designing, and building enterprise computing solutions for a diverse and challenging set of customers is what we do. So let's go to the next slide. Now, I have to bring up these two quotes right here just to know where we come out of. We come out of this space right here. So Johann Goethe, at the moment of commitment, the entire universe conspires to assist you. So if you ever feel like you're not ready to do anything, just know the universe is always on our side. So we set upon this not knowing what we're going to do and how, but we just had this dream, and here we are creating AgriCare. And of course, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. Buckminster Fuller says, to change something, build a new model. So we're building this model where we're working with IT and agriculture, and we're working on bringing good agriculture because there's a need to clean the air on our planet. So these two quotes help drive where we're coming from. So let's go to the next slide. Now, I spoke about AgriCare being founded, but these are the founders of AgriCare right here. And every one of them is a young adult under the age of 25. And we'll start with Jeremiah, who's 22. So 22, 25, 26. And I'm working with them as well, but they decided to set upon to create this company called AgriCare. Now, we are Jeremiah is going to talk to us shortly, and he's in the IT space. We have someone who does UI UX, which is very, very important for websites. You all, this is the user interface, user experience, where we take those technologies and we use them in our creations, and we do marketing, right? And we work with some of the best and brightest to develop your skills. So we together, in conjunction with AWS, we put forth AgriCare. So let's go to the next slide. And so this is why I'm here today, is because we are partnering with Loudoun County that we can share and actually help train potentially some students who might want to work with us to learn how to use cloud computing as well as agricultural technologies. So that's what's going on here. Let's go to the next slide. Right. And so I've already spoke about this. We have a lot of projects, but they're all stemming to regenerative agriculture. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So now this is where I'm going to bring Jeremiah in, but Jeremiah is working. He is our IT lead, so he's the one who is using all of these aspects with the goal in mind to become an AWS cloud practitioner. That's his goal. So we are working as we do these activities to prepare to do the regenerative agricultural work and study that. We also have a goal in mind to become certified because we're using these these activities. So here are the projects. So Jeremiah, I'm going to bring you on, and Jeremiah, tell the folks a little about yourself and how you play in agricare space. Jeremiah.
Okay. Thanks, Derek. Hi, I'm Jeremiah. I'm a senior at Washington University in St. Louis, and my major is computer science and with an interest in software development. And I also have done research in cybersecurity, and for these and for the cloud practitioner exam that Derek just mentioned, it relates to the topics listed. So, for example, for cloud computing, what we have for experience is AWS, Amazon Web Services. So we use our architecture to build the elastic compute cloud instances, and we use the security models to determine which user has the least amount of privilege in accessing certain permissions within each instance. And for the account billings and pricing models, these instances are relatively cheap, but when you create an account for AWS, you have you have the option to do free tier, and you either do that or you have another instance with a bigger storage. And there's also the issue with reserve instances as well. So you reserve an instance for about 1 or 3 years, and then you like 1 or 3 years for a significant decrease in price. So you take into that account of how much money you're putting into this project when you're creating this instance. And then customer migration to the AWS cloud. So you're trying to design your instance to create a website or something else to have the customers migrate. And I talk about how to create a domain name for your instance, and your and how to create an email server from your instance in order for customers to customers to communicate with. And then you have AWS machine learning, which we won't get that much into, but usually we learn more about that later. And for the system administration, we use IAM roles, for which, and I mentioned this before, for which roles is more suited for the user and for this particular instance in AWS. So let me just next, can we have the next slide, please? And so I'll just piggyback to Derek in regards to what candidates we're looking for.
Thanks, Jeremiah. So we are looking for passionate candidates. We are looking for candidates who want to have fun, who may want to break some things, who may want to really face challenging, complex aspects of computer programming, and you also want to map yourselves to learning agricultural activities. And so here in Loudoun County, there are a lot of farms. There is a club called Future Farmers of America. We will be partnering with, as well as local farms. There's a Loudoun Heritage Farm Museum in Sterling. So we're looking to, as we learn these cloud computing technologies, we're also going to be going around looking at local farms, farmers markets, and we're going to be analyzing data, agricultural data from soil samples to how farms work in that way. And then we're going to be tracking that with the websites and computer technologies that we create. Let's go to the next slide. So we these are the technologies we use. Jeremiah will tell you that he mentioned building an email server. We build email servers. We control email servers. We use two-factor. We use the scripts, Java, and we use the system administration activities, and we download servers. We have certs that we're using. So we are all about learning and growing. And don't forget leadership skills, marketing, UI, UX. These are huge when you're learning and growing in this field. All right, let's go to the next slide. If anyone has any questions, feel free. So here is where you will also gain competency. You'll learn biodiversity. You'll understand what soil carbonization is. You'll actually become familiar with these societies we have right here in Loudoun County. They deal with rural roads, bridges, conservation easements, preservations, environmental science systems. All of these things right here, we will provide technical services through cloud computing, and just marry those two. So that's the new model that we're proposing. That's the new model we're proposing, and pretty much that's where we are as AgriCare. So that's the gist of the presentation. And Jeremiah, we both look to any questions. If anyone on the phone has any questions, I mean on the call here has any questions, feel free. Yeah. I saw that. SageMaker is at the top of the list. What you don't see on this page right here is I have a sample curriculum, and so for machine learning, yes, SageMaker is one of the items that we'll be using for the machine learning aspect. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, we have been in touch with the academies, and I have received several resumes. What was that question? If we
The student would like to know if we know TensorFlow, would that transfer to SageMaker or any other deep learning framework?
It's possible. It's possible. So that's where the learning would go in terms of complexities. Typically they have the application programming interfaces that you can use to convert from one type to another type. So it's quite possible when you look at the TensorFlow and SageMaker and say, well, if there's an API, and let's say you can convert that file to a JSON file or an XML file, and then you can bring it in if it's in that type of format, and bring it into to SageMaker. It's potentially, yeah, quite possible. Yep, quite possible. Any other questions? To that question, are you very interested in machine learning? That's Rishi or Rish. Huh? Okay, I see. Okay, very good, very good. Let's see. Any other questions from the crowd there? What would a normal day be like? Good question in this internship. So we understand that just like Jeremiah being a student, that you have schoolwork, you have external extracurricular activities, and as such. So we would actually use a methodology called Agile. Agile is a way that I do business at my company, and I work at Raytheon Technologies. We use the scaled agile framework. So we determine your velocity. Everybody has a velocity in terms of, you have to say, typically, let's say that we have they call them sprints, 2 week sprints. So every day is 2 points, 2 points. So let's say 2 times 5, that's 10 points, and then a total of 20 points for a sprint, 2 weeks, right? Well, if you go on vacation, you have to take away, some points. If you're in school, you have to take away some points. So all of a sudden, your capacity to do work comes down to a particular time frame. So you may only have, let's say, you may only have 10 points available to do work. So we would work within a scaled agile framework, and you would have tasks assigned to you, and those tasks would be fit into your available time frame. So this whole aspect of learning is, uh, Jeremiah and I, we use Trello. Trello is a collaborative tool, and we put all your tasks on that board, and you have objectives there, and everyone knows where you are with those tasks. If you have any issues, you let everyone know. But we collaborate that way, and you work within your capabilities. If you only have 8 points available, then you only get 8 points work, right? And within that work of 8 points, that's where you do your tasking. That's where you do your work. Is that clear? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. So this model right here. This model is a place where you can learn. So you'll come in and say, well, my strong points is Java, but let me see if I can do this in Python. This is the place where you want to experiment and break and see. And then as you go through that exchange, though, you're going to be learning leadership. You're going to be learning how to manage your time. You're going to be learning agile framework, and trust me, it's extensively used in our field. Extensively used. You're going to be learning tools, like Jeremiah said, security related tools. You're gonna get into two-factor authentication. You're going to get into IAM roles, which are user accounts and grouping. You're going to get into all of those pieces, and but you have to know how to make all this work, because this is a lot to go. This is a lot to digest. So that's an excellent question there. Anybody else? Is AWS the main skill set we need, or can we still do the internship with little or no? Potentially. Yeah. Yeah, potentially you could be with no prior AWS experience, and you're ready to learn. That's where the enthusiasm comes in. If you are ready to learn, Jeremiah has actually put together a set of steps, to help through, so to learning from the learning point of view. We can do that, and then as a little piece, and then maybe the next time there may be multiple cycles. For example, you might do this first cycle getting acclimated with AWS, and then the next cycle is when you go into a little bit more. So there's a potential for that, yes. And then Adam says, is there a computer networking aspect? Of course there is. Absolutely. So check this out, Adam. So with the group, like Jeremiah said, if you get a domain and then you stand up an EC2 instance, and then Rishi gets one, he stands up, he or she stands up. But imagine having 5 of those EC2 instances, and then within that space, you all come together and create IAM roles and groupings and everything. And you can get permission to SSH into a machine, or you can get permission to do some APIs from the command line with AWS. It's a good learning experience. It's a seriously good learning experience. And Jeremiah and I have done that type of work, connecting to other machines, and Jeremiah has let me into his account as a user with restricted permissions because, like Jeremiah said, you enable permissions on the least available. You do not want to give the world. You do not want to get the world. So the idea on that, Adam, let me take that a little bit further, Adam. If Adam, Rishi, and someone else gets on as a team and works with us, each of you all will become collaborators. Each of you all will know what each is doing by looking at the Trello board. This is networking. This is learning the leadership skills as well. And then within your time frame, you can grow in that space. But we have to see what we're dealing with in your time schedules and everything. We have to see and put together. We'll put together a plan. Remember, we put together a plan that you help put together, and you're going to gain competency in using management skills. So that's what we do. Jeremiah, anything else to that? Jeremiah is a computer science major at Washington University, a very, very good school, y'all. So ask him some questions. Your Wi-Fi wasn't working, Rishi?
Okay, so he's saying what he's saying what machine learning stuff do you guys do?
Yeah. Well, you remember, Jeremiah, tell them that we that's deep learning, and we have to see, we have to put together our plan to get into that deep learning space. But like you said, if you're new to AWS, we want to make sure you understand the basic concepts of the IAM accounts, understanding the billing, and then as we get past that, then then we'll get into the machine learning aspect. But remember, we have to see, make sure you understand the basic concepts, and then you get into the machine learning. Yeah, yeah.
So for AWS, it basically starts with creating the account and trying to figure out which type of instance that you want to do, whether it's Windows or Linux or anything of that nature. And we try to understand what amount of storage do you want on this instance in order to store your whatever project or website that you have on this instance. And so we basically start with setting up what your instance is, and then we'll get into the machine learning stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Jeremiah. And one thing on the regenerative agricultural side. So I work at Raytheon Technologies, and I work on a program that is associated with the contract with NASA, and it's called the Earth Data, the mission to planet Earth. And so in that Earth Data, if you go to earthdata.nasa.gov, you'll see our custom software working right there. So basically, we're getting satellite data, and we rewrote the custom software that actually manages that satellite data. So on this program with AgriCare, we're going to take data from NASA and then compare it to soil moisture here in Loudoun County. So we're going to get samples of soil, and then we're going to take the earth science data and compare it to see if see if that's true. You know, is it showing our moisture levels? And we're going to track that, and we're going to keep it in databases. And then we're going to do analysis on that one. And then, you know, then as we do that, that's where we get into the machine learning, because we're going to do a lot of algorithms but it's a step-by-step process. It's a step-by-step process. So I know the scientists at these sites, and it's a fun. I'm telling you, you got to be ready for it. This is going to be a fun ride, you all, fun ride. So Sean, you put in the yeah, you can
Yeah,
come
so,
to.
yep, Derek, so for all of our lovely guests right now, I just dropped in a Google form link. If you are interested in possibly getting an internship with Cocoon Strategy, please fill out the form. It will then go to Miss Christina Lee. She will look through all of the information and get back to our different presenters tonight. I want to take a second to thank Mr. Derek Clark and Mr. Jeremiah Melton for taking time this afternoon during this first session to go over Cocoon Strategy. They will be giving another session this evening at 6:15. If you would like to come back again and learn a little bit more about Cocoon Strategy, we welcome you to come back then. For now, have a wonderful rest of your day. Mr. Clark, Mr. Melton, I'll see you back at 6:15 this evening.